Chickens losing their feathers is just a fact of having chickens. They all lose their feathers, but there are 9 different reasons why your chickens are losing their feathers. And it's really important for you to know which one pertains to your chickens. After we talk about those 9 reasons, we are going to go take a look at our chickens, which are losing their feathers in a certain area. We're going to talk about why they are. Let's go. So let's start off with 1 and 2, molts. Now there's 2 types of molts. One is a mini molt or a stress-induced molt, and the other is an annual molt. The stress-induced molt can be caused by predators in the area. It can be caused by loud noises or just a bad environment for your chickens. Those mini stress molts can also be caused by extreme temperature fluctuations and also lack of food and water, which is also going to stress your chicken out. Now your annual molt is something completely different from a stress-induced molt. Your annual molt will happen to all of your chickens, and it happens around the fall time of every year. Your annual molt will be dependent on when your chickens are hatched, but it will usually happen between 15 and 18 months of age. Now if you have a rooster in your flock and you notice a lot of feathers missing from right behind the comb, right on the back of the head, and right on the back of the neck, it means he's mating quite a bit. And that particular hen, he's overmating. So maybe a little separation between them is a good idea because he will continue to pull out feathers from that hen, and they may not regrow depending on how much he is on her. So maybe a little separation of her or him for a time being is appropriate. That's another reason. Now if you have a breed that is really broody and they are currently broody, then that could be a reason they're losing feathers. Why? Well, it's because they pluck them out themselves, usually from the breast area. They pluck them out themselves to help create a soft nest because they want to hatch out those chicks. So that is another reason why they're losing feathers, and that happens on the breast area. Now, I don't want you to panic or get scared when you see your chickens losing their feathers. Some reasons are completely normal. Some can be prevented, but they can all be remedied and fixed. Now, another reason that chickens could be losing feathers around the base of the tail is because that's where their preen gland is, and they're doing what's called preening. Preening is when they take oil from that gland and use it to essentially groom their feathers. But in the process of preening, they are actually taking out old and broken feathers and pulling them out. So that is why you could see some feather loss, especially in that rear area underneath the tail. Now, as I talked about, that stress molt can be caused by a lot of different reasons. But one reason that kind of stands along on its own is predator intrusion into your coop or just around your coop. Now, nothing can get through our coop walls, well, with the caveat that maybe a bear can rip things down. I built that thing really solid, or a snake getting through the holes. But we noticed 0 predators in our coop. So we know that's not the reason. But if predators are even attacking the outside of your run that's completely enclosed, or they're just sitting there waiting to pounce, that can induce that stress in your chickens, which will cause them to lose feathers. And if you have a coop that is vulnerable, and say a snake or a mink or something is getting in at night and it hasn't killed everybody yet or all your chickens, make sure you secure it because that'll cause the other ones to lose their feathers, and they'll probably get killed pretty quickly after that anyway. Now the next 3 are big ones. They are important to keep an eye on with your chickens. Now let's talk about 2 of those 3 first because they have a common link. So the 2 reasons I'm talking about are 1, bullying and pecking, and 2, disease and poor nutrition. Now the poor nutrition is the link between the 2, but there are separate reasons also for each point. Now let's go to disease first because disease is almost always attributed to poor nutrition. Now your chickens need a wide range of different food items to be as healthy as they possibly can. One of those is protein. Now protein usually is in your chicken feed, but if you notice that disease is setting in, it could be because your protein level is too low. Now that is the common link, okay? So I'm gonna talk about it in a second with the other point, which is pecking and bullying. But you want to look out for different diseases that can be nutrition related, like a form of Marek's, fowl pox, or dermatitis. Now, if you're making your own feed, be very aware of the levels of nutrition that your chickens need. They need trace minerals even on top of, say, just regular scratch or whatever it is that you're mixing. So be very careful mixing your own feed. As I've said in a lot of my chicken videos, you want to have a very wide range of nutrition sources available for your chickens. So pay attention to that protein level in your chickens' diets, because that's what leads to the disease, is a deficiency in protein. So chickens peck and bully for many different reasons, but one of those is the link between those 2 points I was talking about, and that is protein deficiency or nutrition. So if you notice your chickens are pecking one another, they're pulling out those little quill feathers, those are a good source of protein. So you need to increase the protein in your diet. If you're giving them a regular 16% layer feed, bump that up to a higher protein diet. They make a 20%. Make sure you get that into their diets. Now, there are a few other ways you can get protein into your chickens' diets besides just the layer feed. You can feed them high protein vegetables like broccoli, or you can give them mealworms or soldier fly larvae. We particularly like soldier fly larvae, in particular the Grubterra brand. We did an entire video about why it's so important to have calcium in your chickens' diets. Check it out at the top of the screen. And if you go below in the description, we have a link to the Grubterra soldier fly larvae. Now, if you click that link and use our discount code, you'll get 10% off. Now, of course, bullying can happen for other reasons too. You're always going to have a dominant hen in your flock. And if you don't have a rooster, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a dominant hen, and she may be the one who's doing that pecking and bullying. So if you see that happening, you got to be observant with your chickens. You need to remove her from that situation, or it's going to continue to happen. Pecking and bullying can happen because of overcrowding, either overcrowding in the coop or the run, or most commonly on your roosting bars. If you notice any of that happening, you need to remedy that situation. You need to increase your run space. You need to increase your roosting bar space. Do it, because they will keep bullying one another. Now, a lot of chickens sit nose to tail on their roosting bars. So they can reach over really easily and peck the feathers on the rear end or near the vent of the other chickens. So if you notice that, it could be the reason. So one more factor for bullying with chickens is they're bored. Chickens are really intelligent creatures, and they need something to do all the time. They either need a dirt bath, or they need extra roost bars, swings on the exterior, something to hop up on, like a stump or something like that. Make sure they have something to do, because if they don't have anything to do, they're going to start picking on one another. Now, I have one of my Rhode Islands here, and you can see she's not looking too good underneath, on the underside here. She has the most feathers missing. I'm not going to hurt you, I know. So what I just observed was, it looked like the most dominant hen, and I know she's the most dominant, picking on the other ones and pulling feathers out and eating them. Now, I noticed one of the other Rhode Islands also coming around and picking the feathers out of some of the barred rocks and eating them. So that tells me that they're probably deficient in protein in their diet. I have, just a few days ago, increased their protein in their diet by giving them a 20% feed. And hopefully that will help a lot. Now, if this continues, I'm going to have to separate that dominant hen. But if they're all doing it because they're all protein deficient, it's just about getting that protein up in the diet. I've also looked, this is another reason. So we're going to talk about the last reason here, is lice and mites. Now, I haven't noticed any lice or mites on our chickens. You can do that by brushing back the feathers, most especially near the vent, because the mice and the lights, mice and lights? Mice and lights. Ugh. Now, I have not noticed any lice or mites on our chickens. The best way to tell is to take your finger and kind of rub the feathers near the vent to check if they are sitting, those lice or mites are sitting near the base, on the quill of the feather, near the base, near the skin. They like it near the vent because it's a warm, moist environment. So that's the first place to check. Now, if they have them, that's easily treatable, except for the depluming mite. Those are a little bit more difficult and you will need medicine for that. The other lice and mites are easy to get rid of. Of course, keep your coop clean, but also you can use DE or diatomaceous earth on the areas of your chicken where you see those lice and mites. Now, just remember all of those 9 reasons, and you can overcome all of them with observation, nutrition, and a good clean coop. Have a blessed day. Now go check out this video right here, which shows you exactly how we built this coop. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.